All right, welcome to another LogiCast episode. My name is Blankakong. I'm joined by Gunner Eos, HadoWolf. No Mr. Esoteric today. He lost his voice streaming, so that's a thing. And no Kaiser, as he has real life situations to handle, so he won't be here today. So it's a three-man podcast, so we'll have more time to talk. Today's topic is monsters we would like to see return in SunBreak, ones that have not been announced yet. So, quick spoiler alert, I guess. I'm going to mention the monsters that are returning that have been announced to re-debut in Monster Hunter Rise. That way, you're aware of why we didn't mention certain monsters potentially. So, the only two monsters that are returning officially that aren't new is Astalos from Monster Hunter Generations and Shogun Cianatar from Monster Hunter 2, the blue crab monster with the giant razor claw hands or whatever, which I was pretty excited for. I'm glad to see that the crab, at least one of the crab monsters, is making a return. So today we're going to be basically mentioning some of the monsters we would like to see return and why. And I guess because I'm talking first, I'll start. So let me see who I want to mention first. So so a lot of my monsters are going to be from Monster Hunter 4 because I feel like Monster Hunter 4 doesn't get the love and attention that it deserves for a lot of reasons. Primarily because it was on the 3DS, and Monster Hunter, I think that was a low point for them compared to some of the other titles. And there was just like less Monster Hunter players on that platform. So the first one on my list is Nursilla, the spider monster from Monster Hunter 4. Now, while that monster isn't like a personal favorite of mine or anything like that, it was extremely unique from anything else that I've played against in Monster Hunter, and I would love to see Nursilla make a return in Rise. And I think Nursilla would actually fit really well in Rise because we already have a new spider monster in Rock Nakadaki. So, Nursilla might be redundant to some people, but, there is a spider monster in the game. So having Nursilla wouldn't be like foreign to Monster Hunter Rise.
Right.
What do you guys think about that?
I always thought Nasilla was a pretty cool monster. The couple times I fought her in Monster Hunter 4. I mean, she was never a monster that I pursued with any vigor because her set was mostly extremely poison based,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember. So it didn't really affect how the weapons and the gear that I needed. But as terms of fighting her, I thought she was a pretty cool monster.
Yeah, pretty unique. That's why I picked her.
Yeah, and there aren't a lot of arachnid monsters. At least I know games like Frontier has a huge monster base, so to speak. So I don't know about that, but as far as the mainline games, I guess I'll call them, and the ones we've gotten in the West, there aren't a lot of arachnids. So I think we have a lot of dragons. Obviously, I mean that's the staple monster.
Yeah.
So a couple, just like when the crabs, just kind of I got sad that when Daimyo Hermitar disappeared, Shogun disappeared, and the huge one, the name escapes.
Shingaron.
Yeah, when he
Yeah.
disappeared, I was like, why they get rid of all the crab monsters? Like, I mean, there weren't a lot of them, and they weren't like the top echelon monster, but there were diversity,
Yeah.
and I like
Mm-hmm.
that when I in my monster pool. So when Shogun came back, I was like, oh, cool, okay, maybe they'll bring back Daimyo. I don't know how many Daimyo fans are out there, but maybe they'll bring him back too. He's always a starting monster, so that'd be a good start for the expansion. But yeah, I'm down for more arachnids. I'd be down to see her brought back.
Wolf, what are your thoughts on Ursula making a return?
I hate spiders.
Thank you for that wonderful and in-depth input.
I can honestly live without
Without
Nusilla's
Ursula.
returns.
Fair enough. That's totally okay. So who wants to go next? Who wants to add another monster to the
I'll add
wishful
another
pool?
monster.
Go for it, man.
So I did my monsters based on the different areas that the game is offering.
Okay.
So I'll start off, which this one is, the rest of them does match their areas a little more, but this one is a little off. And only because he is probably my favorite that was introduced in Monster Hunter World, and that was Odogaron for the Sandy
Okay.
Plains at least. Because I felt like even though Odogaron was designed to fit that wasteland of a map that he started out in, I felt like with the Sandy Plains being naturally an open, wide map, it can explore how fast that creature really is. And I also feel like the Sandy Plains is, or the dunes in each Monster Hunter games always have the least amount of. When I was looking at like all the other monsters that the games have, a lot of them is either forest, water, or volcano. Those maps always get a lot of monsters, whereas like the Sandy Plains is Nibble Snarf.
I hate Nibble Snarf personally. I don't
He's
like him.
such a
Like
fucking lame monster.
who the hell wants Nibble Snarf? You know,
Well,
I
listen. There are
think
Nibble Snarf fans out there. I've encountered them. They're real.
Oh shit!
okay,
So, they're out there.
right,
That's fine. If you like
right,
Nibble Snarf, that's cool. But
that's cool, right? But I
I
personally don't
don't
feel like Nibble
agree.
Snarf, right? So I chose Odogaron because while he is a creepy, intimidating looking creature, he isn't hard. So for people who is picking up Sunbreak and they encounter Odogaron in the dunes, in the very least, they'll get this intimidating factor because it's a monster with no flesh, all fangs. He's super fast, super speedy, but he isn't hard. He's not
But
a hard
from what I
monster to fight.
remember, Doggeron was more Coral Highlands and the wasteland area.
Wasteland, yeah,
That was
he
more
was.
his environment.
Right, that was more
So
his environment. That's why I say he's the one that wouldn't really match too much,
yeah,
but I wanted him a part of it because, again, for me, Odogaron was a nice introduction to Monster Hunter World's mechanic. He was like a nice challenge,
yeah,
Yeah,
starting off to the mechanic of Monster
I
Hunter
agree.
World. So I think he deserves a spot. Plus, he's a pretty cool looking creature. He's super fast. I think it's one of those beginning
His
creatures that'll
equipment
keep
looks
you on your
sick
toes.
too.
his
Like
I
his
was gonna say
armor,
his
Yeah.
armor
really
design
cool.
was really nice.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
armor design was good, and his armor itself was good for beginners.
it was high crit
Um,
focused.
it was
Hmm.
really high crit focus, which
Yeah,
is critical. Is affinity, I think it's called, is
affinity.
always
Yeah.
right, is always an important factor in these Monster Hunter games. So my first pick would definitely be, I would love to see Odogaron, and maybe not for the dunes, whatever he's a part of, I'll be
I mean,
happy with.
realistically, they could just repurpose him. They could just, he could just show up.
Well, they
They
can add a new variant. They can add
They
Ebony
could. Yeah.
Doggeron and put, because this one has like castle theme and like it's like more European. So like there is a werewolf monster or whatever. Like a Doggeron can kind of fit that category of monster. I think if they were to go that route.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
definitely can see him being like a scavenger where he can just go anywhere.
yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
But that's a good pick. I like that. That's a good pick. So Gunner, what's a monster
Alright.
you would like to see return?
Okay. We're gonna go all the way to like the far end of the spectrum. This is gonna be like more than likely an end game monster that you're gonna fight, and it's super niche. But I always thought it was a cool monster and a cool concept of the game you fit in. It's another Monster Hunter 4 guy. I would love if they just from out of nowhere added Chaotic Gore Magala. Chaotic Gore Magala specifically. Because for those who don't know, Monster Hunter 4, the storyline centered around Gore Magala. He had like his, what we called in our group, the Batman form, which is his all black one, where that's his first stage, I guess. And then his final stage was Shigaru Magala, where he's like some holy dragon. He shoots fucking laser beams at you. And then there was a subspecies, I guess you can call it, which was Chaotic Gore Magala, which the concept of him was a Gore Magala that for some reason was stopped in the transformation process from Gore Magala to Shigaru Magala. So his design is wonky, where he has one arm that's golden like Shigaru, but then the rest of him is black like Gore, and he takes a little bit of the move sets from both. So he'll have Gore Magala move sets and he'll have Shigaru Magala moves. When I first fought that monster in the depths of Endgame, in Monster Hunter 4U, I always found that not necessarily the monster, even though the monster is cool from a visual standpoint, but the concept of a monster that was stopped mid transformation, and now he's like some hybrid monster who's got a little bit of both, was always a cool concept to me. Like, he's my favorite weird concept monster from Monster Hunter 4U. So to see him in Rise, where it's, a better looking game, and he was an incredibly fast paced monster. So since Rise, and assuming Sunbreak, is also going to be super fast paced with the wire bugs and the dogs and the speediness of the game, I think he would fit in really well in that world's environment because he's fast, he shoots beams, and he's all over the place. And then you can do the same thing thanks to the wire bug and all the new moves that we're going to get for Sunbreak. So, my case is definitely something you're not going to see at the beginning of the game. I'd like if they added Chaotic Gore Magala.
Magala was one of the hardest monsters I fought in Monster Hunter 4 on all levels, from the infant all the way up to Shigao. But I still can't disagree with that. I feel like with all the new movement that you can do in this game, it will match the sporadic and unpredictable movement that Chaotic Gore Magala was known for. That's how I feel.
I'd have to agree. Gore Magala was on my list of monsters that I'd like to see return. And, if you're going to have Chaotic Gore Magala, you have to have the other two as well. So you would get a 3-for-1 kind of special. Right? And I wouldn't say no to that. That sounds fantastic. So, and if they were to do something like that and add a fourth, like a totally different subspecies Gore Magala with another set of chaotic forms or whatever, that'd be cool too. Like a fire breathing Gore Magala, with its own chaotic form and its own, final form. That would be cool.
Because I always thought Magala was cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Faded Four, and they've pretty much brought them all back now, minus Gameth. R.I.P. Gameth,
which
the boy gets no respect.
Ain't nobody missing him, but.
But I wasn't a huge fan of the Faded Four. But come on, I mean, Gore Magala was the poster boy for 4. If I see him in some way, I'd be happy for him.
Well, the Faded Four was Monster Hunter Generations.
Yeah. But I know they get a lot more love, they seem to be getting a lot more love.
Well, Glavenus came back in Monster Hunter World.
Mm-hmm.
Iceborne, he returned. And then in Rise, Mizune, she returned. And now Astalos is coming back. Gameth is the redheaded stepchild. Nobody cares about him, apparently.
His armor's always looked cool. So
yeah, his armor looks dope, but it's not good. It's not good, from a logistic standpoint. Like, it just, you have better options. And, he's a cool looking monster, but he's not he's pretty easy. He's kind of a pushover. The deviant version of Gameth, I forget what it was called, Frost something Gameth.
I ever fought it.
I fought it once or twice. I was like, okay, this is a way stronger, but okay, whatever. It wasn't as impactful.
I think he needs a major rework. I think if they give him a rework and they improve really his speed, or even if they don't improve his speed, but improve, I guess, how tough and tank-like he was supposed to be, then he would be a better fight. But he's pretty much just a walking brick.
Yeah.
A wall. But I think he really needs a rework.
I'd agree with that. But Gore Magala is Chaotic Gore Magala is a great choice. Great pick. And that obviously would come with regular Gore Magala and Shingaru Magala. So, so my next monster is a monster that was exclusive to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U and 3DS. And this is an endgame monster, so not everybody who played that game might have encountered it, but it is Lucent Nargacuga, which is one of the coolest fucking monsters I've ever had the pleasure of fighting in a Monster Hunter game. And for those who don't know, obviously you can look it up. I'm sure there's YouTube videos and footage that you can see of him, but it's a Nargacuga that you find in the tower, the ancient tower, and it's a Nargacuga that disappears. So he'll appear and disappear, and he shoots like the darts that Nargacuga shoots. The darts that Lucent Nargacuga shoots are poisonous. So, and he can combine that with the fact that he can also disappear, and you have to like kind of look at the floor, look at the the debris that he creates on the floor to kind of figure out where he is. And like if you fought Nargacuga long enough, you know what he's gonna do, but now you can't see him, so now you have to kind of like really rely on that muscle memory to be like, okay, at this point in the animation, he's probably gonna be he's gonna hit me now. Like you have to do kind of a not a guessing game, but it's a very intuitive fight. You have to know the fight very well and execute your dodges, your attacks on top of knowing the fight, which I loved. I love fights like that really test your ability as a player. And Lucent, I mean, the fact that he disappears and reappears, like, it's so cool. And Nargacuga is already a cool ass fucking monster. Probably like, if I had to give like a top 3 monsters ever, like Nargacuga's up there. I don't know if he's number 1, but he's definitely in the top 3 monsters like ever. In terms of cool factor and like diversity and just awesomeness. I don't know what other words to use, but Nargacuga
he was always
a
reliable monster. Like his armor was always, if
yeah,
not the
and
whole
his equipment
thing,
is always good.
Yeah,
always usable. So yeah, Lucent Nargacuga. Now I don't think Gunner's ever fought him because I think you skipped over Ultimate 3.
Yeah, I didn't play that one.
But what are your thoughts on Lucent Nargacuga?
I mean, you guys have talked about this before, so I kind of know basically, and I've looked them up on YouTube, so I've seen fights of him. I think that'd be an awesome concept because base Rise suffered from a disturbing lack of unique monsters. Like there weren't monsters that did a lot of unique things. And what I mean by unique is they had some type of gimmick to them that was more than just monster, and he might have a projectile, he might have a jumping attack. Okay, rinse and repeat with different variations. Like Lucent, from what I've seen and you guys have told me, you had to be on your feet. You had to have your eyes peeled, literally, throughout the entire fight because this thing would literally just disappear. Right on mini map, he's gone. On the actual field, he's gone. So I'm always down for more monsters like that kind of break up the, I don't want to say mundaneness of the hunting, but kind of the samey, which I guess is just another word for it, of the hunting.
I like samey.
Yeah, okay. So the samey of hunting, where it's, you see the monster, you attack monster, and you move on. So hey, I'm down for any monster that has a unique gimmick as long as it's doesn't veer into the Monster Hunter World territory, where we got fights like not Astalos, Fatalis to a certain degree, but more so
Elatrion.
Yes, Alatrion, where I felt like I was playing an MMO and I was raiding again, and we had to do element DPS checks, or we just straight up lose the fight. That's a gimmick that kind of that goes a little bit too far because that kind of forces, which a hunter should always be adaptable, but it kind of forces hunters to maybe play things they don't like.
Yeah.
So if they just keep Lucent Larga with his invisibility gimmick that doesn't require us to build a special armor set to see him or anything like that, I'm down. I'm down. A different monster that's unique and is not the same old. Yeah, I'd like to see him. Something like that in the game.
Wolf, what are your thoughts on Lucent?
Any subspecies of Nagakuga is A-okay with me. I have no problems with it. Whether it's green, black, yellow, purple, invisible, impossible, invincible, I will always accept Nagakuga in my Monster Hunter game. He is my absolute number 1 favorite monster, period. When I fought him the very first time in Monster Hunter Unite, and he got upset, and the trail of his red eyes was left behind as he moved around, I fell in love. That little subtle special effect that they gave him as a unique monster on that PSP game was just like, this right here. This represents power and beauty at the same time. And that's what Nagakuga was always to me. It was always this nice, sleek, long monster. It has bat-like features. I don't know if it's necessarily based on a bat, but bat-like features. And then when he gets angry, his eyes glowed red and you could see the trail of his eyes. It's like, monster's beautiful. Sorry. I'll accept anything
I'd agree.
from
I'd agree.
Nagakuga.
Nagakuga is fucking cool as hell, man. And even like little details that I remember we discovered, the whole Sonic Bomb strategy, which blew my fucking mind. Like throw a flash bomb, and like whenever he like, you know, kind of like gets into position to pounce, he does like a very specific like position or animation. And if you flash bomb him, he'll hold that position a little longer. And if you flash bomb him when he's doing that, or if you Sonic bomb him when he's doing that, you'll get a knockdown. And I didn't believe, like, you know, I forget who told me that, but somebody told me, yeah, Sonic bombs work on him, and it makes sense that Sonic bombs work on him because he's like a bat-like creature. But I didn't think that feature was in the game, and when we saw it, I was like, holy shit! Like,
because
just little
we
things
relied
like
on flash bombs so much.
Yeah.
We relied on it so much that for us, Sonic bombs didn't really make much sense against maybe Monoblos or Diablos. But
yeah, true.
To have a creature that we thought was pretty much, I won't say immune, but the flash bombs didn't really work on him too much.
They didn't give us a real advantage. So
no, it didn't. Right. So that added a sense of difficulty out of sheer ignorance. It was just sheer ignorance on but I listen, any version of Nagakuga, even if it's a new one, I'm friggin' happy. I can't complain.
I'll be open to a new one as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You got one, Gunner? Or should I go next?
Yeah, I got one. This one's a weirdo. You're gonna be like, why this one? And I just think it's another monster that just hasn't seen the light of day for a while, and in my opinion, is a more unique monster and a more challenging monster than its counterpart, who shows up a lot more. And this monster is Giginox. And you're like, why Giginox? Giginox is lame. Yeah, Giginox is not the best monster. It's not the tip top. But when you compare it to Kezu, I always thought Giginox was more unique and more challenging than Kezu. Like, pretty much Kezu hasn't changed much over the years. It shoots lightning in a 3-way arc. It jumps at you, coating itself in lightning, and it shoots from the walls. Giginox kind of did all that, the same thing, but she was bigger. She had 2 faces, essentially. She was different in the fact that she was based off of poison, and then later on noxious poison, as opposed to Kezu, which was thunder. And she also had the added effect that she would just, in the middle of the fight, give birth. She just stand there and just plop out a fucking disgusting sack, and now you have to deal with little baby Kezu whelps. Yeah, Giggies. And it's like, now that's just like a hazard on the field because you're fighting her. Next thing you know, this thing is attached to your freaking head and is sucking your life out. And you know, did it happen to us? Maybe once in a blue moon, very rarely. But you know, it could have been that you were really low, you took a potion, or you're about to take a potion, and then that little baby sneaks up on you, hits you, you're done. Like, to me, that's just more interesting than Kezu, who's shoot, jump, shoot, jump, shoot, jump. And it's like, but Kezu is in more Monster Hunter games than Gigi. Gigi was in practically Monster Hunter 3 portable and 3 ultimate, and then 1 spin-off game. Like, this thing
she wasn't
barely
even in 3 portable. She wasn't in 3 portable. Zenogre's game?
Well, portable 3rd.
Portable 3rd, yeah. She wasn't there. She was in
shame on you, Wiki.
Try. I mean, I could be wrong, but I really don't think I am. I could be wrong though. I don't remember us fighting her in portable 3rd.
I think it was
definitely in Try, but that was Ultimate 3. The electric Giginox. Yeah. That was Ultimate 3. Okay. I don't think she was in portable 3rd.
Oh, well then even less. She's been in 2 games that we've gotten in the West.
Okay, so I did look it up. Giginox was a part of Portable Third. I just do not remember fighting her in
You
that
hit
game.
me for looking it up while you were
Yeah.
restarting.
Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty there. So if the cut was weird, that's why. For those listening, OBS just freaked out on me and shut everything down. So, but yeah, Giginox. I think Giginox is definitely superior to Kezu from like a enjoyment standpoint and from a design standpoint. I think it just has more to offer. But I don't dislike Kezu. I mean, I don't.
What I was saying earlier was I feel like Kezu was a victim of mechanic evolution from being Monster Hunter Freedom Unite 2 all the way up to whatever game Giginox was introduced. The mechanics was different. I mean, they were of course obvious similarities, but
there were like the core design is the
right.
same, but
It's the
in
same.
terms of like its how do you say, like, tools given to the player, obviously
Right.
the engine had changed because
Right.
Giganox was introduced in Tri, and Kezu was, you know, Monster Hunter 2 on the PS2.
Which is
So
basically the original is
Monster
like
Hunter, yeah, it's like the
yeah.
original engine versus like the new engine, which yeah, the engine they introduced in Tri was like a rework of the entire Monster Hunter framework, right? Like it was a new engine. They remodeled all the monsters moving forward, which is why that game lacked so much content, is because they did everything from scratch pretty much. Which is the same engine they used all the way up to, I think, Generations, until Monster Hunter World came, and then that's when they kind of redid things from the ground up with World, because they kind of had to. And I know Monster Hunter 4 is also like a big leap, but I mean, a lot of stuff from Monster Hunter 3's generation in terms of assets and stuff carried over to 4. Because they had to make sure it ran on 3DS. It was only on 3DS anyway.
Right.
But I'd have to agree. Giginox would be a good pick. I would have liked Giginox more than Kezu in base Rise, but we got Kezu, which was like a nostalgia pop. It was like, oh,
yeah,
Kezu.
I get it. Kezu's an OG. Yeah, I get that.
But you know, after I fought him a few times, I was like, all right, I'm over it. Like,
yeah, because it's like, you know, it's like all right, let's do another reference from another Capcom game. Is Ryu was introduced in Street Fighter 2 with Street Fighter 2 limitations. If you look at all the original Street Fighter 2 characters, they're pretty fucking basic characters. They're all basic across the board. Their moves are very simple. They're very straightforward. But then you come across, you start to evolve into like Alpha. You start to evolve into Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4, and you're starting to get more complex characters.
Yeah.
Sakura may not be as good as Ryu, but her moveset is more complex because of how she moves, how she animates.
Or a character like C Viper and Street Fighter 4.
Or a character like C Viper and Street Fighter 4. You know, so it's like, because the mechanics is evolving, we're getting these more complex creatures. So base Kezu, base Rathalos, base Rathian, these monsters are not going to be very difficult because their moveset across the board didn't really change much, with a little exception here and there. They're still the introduction characters. That's how I look at them. They're the introduction.
Funny you say that, because Rathalos and Rothian actually did get highly reworked. Because watching Kong stream Monster Hunter Freedom, I think he was streaming.
Freedom Unite.
Yeah, he got up to the part where he fought a Rothian. I'm like, yo, this is just green Rathalos. It's just like it's run and fly with poison instead of fire. And then I'm looking at Rise, Rathalos and Rothian, and they actually made them distinctive, where Rathalos is sky based and Rothian is land based, and they have at this point way different move sets. So,
well, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna again compare to Street Fighter. Ryu and Ken started out pretty much identical to each other, but as the games evolved, one became very aggressive, and one stayed very grounded. So you know that what Capcom has done with their flagship monsters is the same thing they've done with their flagship fighting game characters. They may start off the same in the beginning because of console limitation, but as it evolved, they're able to
So
branch out.
I
each one.
agree with the concept of what you're saying, but I think Ryu is a bad example because Ryu
Maybe
is
he is.
Ryu is a character that has been in every major Street Fighter game since its inception, right? Since Street Fighter 1, which nobody talks about Street Fighter 1 because nobody gives a shit
No.
about Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 2 is when it really started. All right,
Right.
so for anybody who's like, oh, actually Ryu was actually in Street Fighter 1 and not just 2, you're right, but Street Fighter 1
Street
doesn't
Fighter
count, bro.
2 was the
Street Fighter 2
fighting
was
game
the
that started
real
it.
start. Let's be honest
exactly.
here. Let's not
Right.
run into semantics. We all know, right? Okay, cool. I just wanted to point that out because you said that Ryu debuted in Street Fighter 2, which isn't accurate, but Street Fighter 2
It's
was
accurate.
yeah, Street Fighter 2 is the
Yeah.
one that everybody knows about. Anyway, Raphalos and Ryu are good examples of, you know, they're like one and the same because Raphalos has been in every single Monster Hunter game. So Raphalos has had the opportunity to level up along the way, whereas Kezu wasn't in Monster Hunter 3, wasn't in Monster Hunter 4. I think he returned in Generations. I'm pretty sure because Generations was like
the Smash Brothers.
It was a compilation, but like he wasn't changed much. Like it was just Kezu, and now he's returned in Rise, which is like a fresh game, and he hasn't changed much. So
Yeah.
Raphalos, when you compare Raphalos to Monster Hunter 2 Raphalos to Monster Hunter Rise Raphalos, there's a huge difference, and that's because he's been there along the way. A better example, Kezu's like
Guile, in my opinion.
not even Guile. Like I would say, what's a more obscure character? Like fucking Dalsum or something like that, where it's just like, what more
but
could you
Dalsum
do with
is the
Dalsum?
same, right?
Like
Dalsum is still the same he was in Street Fighter 2, missing Street Fighter 3, going into Street Fighter 4. He's still the same.
He's still the
Right.
same, right? He has ultra moves or whatever. Yeah, because he has to. But Dalsum is the like if you know how to fight Dalsum in fucking Street Fighter 2, I think you'll be okay in Street Fighter 4. I haven't played Dalsum in Street Fighter 5. I know he was like a DLC character or whatever. I don't know if they changed him then. I doubt it. But yeah.
But
So-
the analogy is just really pretty much saying that, you know, like the way I noticed that these games is the beginning monsters. Okay, let's take out Rathian and Rathalos as an example. But the monsters that started out in Monster Hunter 2 didn't really change much in moveset. Even original Nagakuga in this current game is very, very, very similar to Nagakuga back in Monster Hunter 2.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't really change much, and I think that's where Kezu is the victim, because Kezu is he's the one that got the short end of the stick, because they never introduced the one subspecies of Kezu is the red one, which is bigger lightning. So he does more Pikachu, big fucking whoop-de-doo. Like it doesn't do like it's no real difference in the subspecies. One is red, one is white. Big deal. But because they've never made him much different, because it's like we've evolved along with the mechanics. So at this point, we're over monsters that still operate as if they're in Monster Hunter 2.
Yeah.
And that's where Kezu falls, unfortunately.
So I'm gonna say something that's gonna be some people might get upset at me for. But I don't care because this is how I feel. And I think there's a lot of Monster Hunter veterans, whether you're from Monster Hunter 1 days, Monster Hunter Generations days, 3, 4, Unite, Frontier, whatever. Monster Hunter Rise, while it is a fantastic game, I felt a lot of the monsters were cop-outs. Kezu's being one of them. Kezu, I don't think there was a lot of work that went behind Kezu. So they added him in the fucking game. Just like there's 4 raptors in the game, fucking Boggy, Rogi, Izuchi, which is the new one, which I'm cool with. And what was the 4th one? They didn't bring back Jaggy. Who was the 4th one?
Is it the one with the rock that carries the stupid rock around?
Kuliyaku. Thank you.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kuyaku, Kuipeko.
Kurpeko is the monster that summons Devil Joe and other monsters.
Oh, that's
the hunting horn monster.
Yeah.
That's completely different. Kuliyaku is the dumb bird from Monster Hunter World with the rock, which I like the monster. Like he's a fun little beginning monster. not against him existing, but he didn't need to be in the game with 3 other. Like, we were just fine with Great Azuchi, and if you wanted to add a second one, the Great Rogi or the Great Boggy would have been fine. We didn't need both. This, I'm just being honest, man. Like, the roster is like samey, right? And it's like, it just feels late. I hate to use the word, but it feels kind of like, you know, they went for the low hanging fruit. They went for like, all right, well, this is pretty easy. Let's just throw that
They
in there.
played it safe.
They played it
Oh, hell
extremely
yeah.
safe. So anyway, Kezu kind of falls into that category,
yeah.
in my opinion. Some people might get upset that I said that, but it's how I
The
feel.
the one Kezu fan out there. No, but
Go ahead.
yeah, just to wrap up the Kezu topic. Wolf is definitely right. He's a product of his time, and it's glaringly obvious in Rise, where I was just literally zipping around the poor creature, and all he can do was his fucking 3-point turns, and it's just like, bro, what are you doing here? Go to bed, wrap it up. You don't need to be here. So I just think, again, Giginox they can tweak her a bit, but she's already more of an initial threat.
She's more advanced.
Yeah. So I'm team Big Boss Gigi.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there.
My option, which I see this monster in either the Shrine Ruins or the Flooded Forest. It's a weird one because he's only ever been in one game. But since we're on the topic of weird creatures, it's actually Malfestio. And I think
Dude, I had Malfestio was my next one. Oh man. All right, cool. Go ahead.
I think it does need a major rework, even if they decided to use the deviant version of Malfestio, because Malfestio, I think, suffered in terms of leaving himself open often. And his mechanics, while was unique, it was also very easy to avoid. So he was supposedly a difficult monster, but obviously if you have half a brain cell, you could have worked your way around it. So I think Malfestio needs a rework, but I think he'd be a great addition. He's a flying type creature, so being in the air with all the aerial stuff going on and all the anime as fuck stuff that you can do in Monster Hunter Rise, it's like going toe to toe with an aerial creature constantly, especially me being an Interglaive user. The fact that he can reverse your controls, oh my gosh. I grew gray here getting caught with Malfestio's controls reverse.
So wait, you don't have a half a brain cell? I thought it was like, what were you saying?
It's the first time, right? The first time I fought him. Not even the first time, but the first few times where we have to learn the mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So let me reiterate. Malfestio was one of those creatures that didn't take long to adapt to. Not like, say, other creatures. Like Devil Joe took a while to adapt to for me.
Sure, on a one-on-one basis, I agree.
Yeah. So I feel like because he's only ever been in one game, to my memory anyways.
Yeah, Generations, that's it.
Generations, yeah. I feel like he deserves a chance in this one. I think with the new mechanics and how Rise works, he would make a very awesome aerial boss fight, along with, like, say, Rathalos and Valstrax. But Blanca had it on his list, so what do you feel? Do you completely agree, or did I miss out some stuff?
100% agree. I love, that is my favorite bird wyvern monster
thing
in Monster Hunter. I love Malfestio because he's based off an owl. And owls are fucking cool. I love owls. Are so cool to me. Like I love just looking at them and reading about them. I love owls. They're so sick. And this monster like encapsulates everything. Like he embodies. Like okay, so I'm playing Elden Ring right now, and there's a lot of mage characters, NPCs in this game. And in every RPG that I've ever played, the mage characters are always dickheads. Like they're always so arrogant. They think they know everything. Yet, you know, if you punch them in the face once, they'll fucking fall apart, right? And Malfestio is exactly that to me in monster form. He's a dickhead who thinks he knows everything. He has a very smug attitude, and the way he moves is very smug and like arrogant, like a black mage. And and he's annoying too, right? Like he's like, if he catches you with that dust, and you get hit with that reverse control shit, you want to pull your hair out. Just like if you're fighting a mage, and let's say you're playing a warrior, and this motherfucker is just throwing fucking bullshit at you. It's like, oh my god, I can't get to this guy. But once you get to him, it's over, right? And the same thing for Malfestio. Malfestio, you know, once you learn all the tricks and you get past all that, he's not a problem anymore. It's like, okay, I got you now, motherfucker. And it's so, I loved that feeling of like, it's hard to explain, it's hard to articulate for me. I don't know why, but I just love that feeling of like getting your just desserts. After fighting an annoying enemy, finally getting him in the corner. It's like, what now, motherfucker? Malfestio was that, right? But I also love the fact that he has a lot of personality, that monster, in my opinion. I think the Monster Hunter generations, the new monsters that they introduced in that game, had a lot of personality. So, you know, even their raptor, the Great Macau, like, he had a lot of personality. He was Kuliaku before Kuliaku existed. To me, you know, I like the Great Macau a lot. He's not on my list, but because we have enough raptor monsters. If Capcom, if you're listening, we don't need more raptor bosses.
We really
Rise,
don't.
Please. But yeah, Malfestio 100%. And I love his design. His color palette works really well. His Deviant variant is really cool and challenging. Like it does everything Malfestio does, but more. Yes, Malfestio, please. I will love that. But yeah, Gunner, please. I've gushed enough about the bird.
No, I mean, not much can be said. I always thought Malfestio was a pretty cool monster. Again, he's in the same boat as the crabs and the arachnids. There's not a lot of him. And would I love to see like other owl monsters? Sure, but like Malfestio is it as far as I'm aware of.
Well, there are other bird monsters, right? There's Cuckoo. There's Hypnoc from Monster Hunter Frontier, who was in Monster Hunter Unite, which I feel like Malfestio is a better Hypnoc. He's everything Hypnoc is, but way more. There's what's the new one that came in Rise? I forget. He has like an umbrella, like his ears become like an umbrella.
Oh god, I know. I just barely fought the damn thing.
A Moxon or something with an A. Yeah, he's a bird, and he has like that long beak. He's a cool monster, but like I don't know. Something is missing with him.
I think they did Malfestio the best of all the bird monsters.
Yeah, Malfestio is I couldn't agree more. But I'm sorry, I cut you off, Gunner. Please.
No, I mean, pretty much he falls to me in that same category. He's only been in one game, the original of Generations and Generations Ultimate. Like that's it. The guy's stuck on one game on a arguably a dead platform, the 3DS. So like I would love if they brought him back. And just again, not every monster has to be an Elder Dragon. Not every cool monster has to be an Elder Dragon. So if they just brought him back, made him like a tier 2 monster, I would love it. Like maybe spice up his moveset, give him a new move or two. Yeah, I'm down for him. He's like he's cool. His armor was always cool. Well, again, it wasn't the greatest, but his armor looked cool. I'm down. If they put him in, I'd be happy to see him come back.
I tried my best to stay away from Elder Dragon monsters because usually with Monster Hunter games, the Elder Dragon monsters are story driven for the most part. So I expect that Monster Hunter Rise Elder Dragons appearing would be more for the story per se.
Aknosam, that's his name.
Right.
The bird. Aknosam. Aknosam.
Right. Oh, that's the bird that creates the really cool shitty greatsword. Got it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's so dumb. But anyways, yeah, I tried my best. I think there's only one monster up here that I'm unsure if it's an Elder Dragon or not, but I did my best to stay away from Elder Dragons personally for my list.
I did as I think I have one on my list. But whose turn
I already
is it
mentioned
now?
my one.
Yours.
It is my turn. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I guess I'll mention it. This is from Monster Hunter 4. Surprise, surprise. Dalamador, the giant serpent.
That is definitely an Elder Dragon.
Yeah, the giant serpent monster in Monster Hunter 4. And you know, I'm not like a huge fan of the gimmick fights. By gimmick fights, I mean like you know, Gen Moran from Monster Hunter 3 or what Fatalis was in Monster Hunter 4. Like, I don't like those fights because they're typically boring. But I don't know, the Dalamador fight in Monster Hunter 4 was a lot of fun. And for those who don't know what that is, it's a gigantic serpent. Like, it's the size of like a New York City skyscraper, maybe even bigger than that. And he's like wrapped around a giant pillar, and you're little hunter, you're there, and you're like poking at him as the sides or whatever, and you have to kind of like change pillars as he's like, slithering around. And I don't know, that fight was really cool and really fun. And when we finally beat him, it was very satisfying, and he made really cool looking equipment that was, I think it was pretty good. I don't remember this, like the skills that came with it, but I remember it making it and like using it for a good while. But Dalamador is a monster I would like to see return. I know it won't happen. I don't, but I think he would fit the theme of like this new game.
Rise.
Yeah,
I think it would fit Rise with the wire bug mechanic.
absolutely.
It would make him more accessible to areas that we struggle to get to when we was fighting him before. I don't have an issue with Dalamador. I do like the fact that he kind of returned by lore in Monster Hunter World, but then it wasn't really in
It wasn't
the game per
confirmed.
se.
It wasn't
Right,
really.
it wasn't
We don't
confirmed
know.
either. Right, but based on Monster Hunter enthusiasts, it did make sense. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if he returned. At least I don't have to deal with Alatrion.
I think he'd be cool. He'd be a cool return. I remember fighting him, because he was Key Quest. Ooh, those are format that's long gone. But back in the day when we used to have Key Quest, we had to fight him. So I grew intimate with him because we had to fight him 4 or 5 times.
Well, he was an urgent quest, like a old
Right.
school urgent quest. So yeah, even if you did them back in the okay, kids, gather around. Back in the day in Monster Hunter, old Monster Hunter, your urgent quest didn't count for everybody. It only counted for the person who initiated the quest. So if you all wanted to rank up, you had to do the quest for each person in the group.
Yeah. So if it was a group of 4, you're doing it 4
times. Successfully 4 times. Now, if it took you more than 4 times to win the 4 times, then you're gonna be there for a while.
Old school Monster Hunter.
Yeah. But so we got to intimately know the monster because we had to fight him a couple times. I think the concept was cool, and I agree with Wolf. I think the concept could be expanded upon again because the wire bugs just allow such intensive movement. Like we're moving on the Z-axis with that damn thing now, so it wouldn't be so much like running along the small plots of ground to fight him. We can literally, everybody's thinking of the anime. We can literally attack on Titans the thing and just wire bug along the snake and start attacking it. Fuck it, put it in the collab. Hey, do it. You know you want to. So I think it would fit, or the fight would be interesting because we have that new vertical movement. I just don't like basing off of Rise's endgame monsters, which it's gonna sound like I'm shitting on the game, but they weren't good. And their big mode was the whole siege tower defense kind of mode. I don't know how Dalamander's gonna fit that unless they just make him an old school fight and have him like a Monster Hunter 4 with his big arena, or if they want to put it into the new siege mode. I think he'd be trivialized if they put him into the siege mode because now I have cannons, ballistas, dragonators, traps, and it would diminish the significance of fighting the monster. So if they put him in his entirety, just like we fought him without any of the guns and siege weapons, with the wire bugs, I think it would be a good addition. I think Rise severely needs big, massive monsters. It didn't have any. And I'm sorry, but floating fucking Chinese-based air and thunder dragon was just not cutting.
Yeah,
a massive monster, I'm down.
That was a very poor. Those were 2 poor Elder Dragon fights, but I don't know if you guys ever fought the fusion between them.
No.
Nope. I
Didn't
stopped.
even know there was one.
I know it exists, the All Mother or whatever, but
Right.
I don't care.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
since you don't care, that was an actual Elder Dragon fight. Does it match the Elder Dragon fight in the final Elder Dragon fight in Monster Hunter Iceborne? Not to me. It doesn't even match Safijiva. But
Ooh, okay.
but it
Damn.
does, right? It is more akin to how we expect Elder Dragons to play that All Mother fight. But again, that's something you guys have to experience yourselves, and we are a special group of hunters, so we can easily trivialize something that's meant to be difficult.
Right.
I did say that. Yes, I did. So yeah. Gunnar, it's your turn for your monster.
Okay. Now that everybody's left now. But okay, so mine is a favorite of mine, and I really like this monster, and I was mad when they added her simp boyfriend, but not her.
I know where he's going.
Like, can we please put Celtis Queen in
She was on my
fucking
list too.
Sunbreak?
Celta's Queen was on my list for the Dunes. Yes, she
Like,
was.
Yeah.
I always found Celtis Queen a cool monster because she just reminded me of a living Metal Gear from the
Mhm.
Metal Gear Solid series. Like, she was just big, tanky. She wasn't actually, she was deceivingly fast
Yeah,
for
she
a
was.
giant thing, and she would just like fucking the thing that it's a bug, but it has hydraulics, so when it would move, like the fucking steam would come out. Like, this is such a cool monster. And then when I play Rise, I'm like, oh shit, okay, they added the fucking Celtis bitch. Okay, cool. So that means she's gonna be in this game. And I get to the end, and I'm like,
Got him.
where is she? I'm like, they added they added her boyfriend. This is a monster I have to fight. I'm like, I was so disappointed because I was expecting Celtis Queen. And honestly, when they combine, right, when he serves his duty to his
Yes.
queen, like she becomes even more of a threat because now she gains
Now she can
flight.
fly. Yeah.
Yeah, like how do you
And
add the weakest
projectiles
element?
too. That she became a problem with when they
Right.
Became a
combined.
problem when they combine.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's what made up for the fact that the Celtis was just a very disappointing monster because when he showed up, it's like, oh, okay, you're like the raptor equivalent, but you're a bug. You're a nuisance. But when he combined with her, it's like, holy shit, this thing's a whole
You
new
got a whole new
monster
fight.
now.
Yeah. You
And
got a
Mhm.
whole new fight
yeah, and
when
then
they
it's like, I got her on the ropes, and literally when she picked him up, killed him, ate him, and recovered HP, I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like
Yeah.
this
Celtics
monster
Queen
is so
bought
cool.
Celtics Queen bought a whole new dynamic to Monster Hunter.
Oh, did you see that? She just killed him. He's dead. She ate him. I don't see her HP bar, but it went up.
Yeah.
Come on, Rise. You already have one component of the combo. Put in the other half. Put in Celtis Queen.
Put in the real boss.
Right, exactly. The real monster, not the fucking simp, please.
We want that independent woman. We want that in Monster Hunter. Give us the Celtis Queen.
She is Yas Queen. Like, I'll take her.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
what do you guys think? I'm pretty sure from our initial conversation, I get the consensus.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I want her in. I do. She's on my list for the desert, for the dunes, and I think this was a real Monster Hunter fight. This fight was Monster
Yeah.
Hunter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they chose Celtis over Celtis Queen. I don't. Maybe that's what they intend. Maybe she's
Maybe.
supposed to be like.
Maybe.
Like, maybe they're saying like, okay, we're gonna introduce the players to Celtis because we know that we're gonna upgrade Celtis for the next one. Maybe they knew that. Maybe they just had ideas for the queen, and who knows? She may summon two Celtis and can fly like Rathalos. You know, like go high into the sky and shoot bug balls down on us or something. But who knows? But I'm going to assume that they have some level of common sense that they added Celtis, so they're gonna add Celtis Queen.
I'd have to respectfully disagree with that assessment of this master plan of like we're gonna add Celtis in the base game and we're gonna add the Queen later. Because if that was the case, she would have been a DLC character along with Teostra and Chameleos and Kushladora. I know. Low hanging fruit monster. They put Celtis because he was easy. Let's just call us. That's what I'm calling it. All right. But anyway, Celtis Queen, absolutely 100%. He's right up there with Malfestio. He was on my list. He was actually the next monster I was going to mention. But I had a feeling that Gunnar was going to mention Celtis Queen because we have gushed a lot about how cool Celtis Queen is in the past. And so I knew he was going to mention it. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll hold off on mentioning Celtis Queen. Funny story. So I collect Monster Hunter figures. They have like those small 3 to 4 inch Monster Hunter figures. I love collecting those. And I love collecting them of like monsters that I don't have large statues of. And Celtis Queen is one that I always wanted to get my hands on, but everywhere that I look that has it is way too expensive. Like we're talking, it's an amiibo sized figure. It's like 3.5 inches tall and it looks cool, but I'm not paying $50-$60 for a 3-inch figure or even $100. Like she's expensive. Like, and people know, I think she's very popular. I think she's like an unsung hero or something. That or her print, like the print run of the Monster Hunter 4 figures was low, because everywhere I see Celtis Queen figure, it's way too expensive for me to justify.
I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's popularity because you could probably pick up like 3 Kezus because I know Kezu's in the same.
Dude, I have like 3 Kezu figures.
Yeah,
exactly. It was like dirt cheap. It was like, just give me $4, bro. I was like, all right,
exactly. No, I think it's a popularity thing.
Fucking poor Kezu. But Celtis Queen has my vote, 100%.
Yeah, man, such a cool monster. And I hate bugs. She's the only one that gets a pass.
Okay, me is a favorite of mine. Well, I want it in here because I want its insect glaive weapon, and that's Kechawacha, because the insect glaive of Kechawacha was the expanding pole that characters like Goku used, who was based off of, you know, the Journey to the West character. So Kechawacha's insect glaive was a water weapon that was very good. It was actually a very good water weapon. But when I jumped or catapulted off of the insect glaive, it would extend in reach and launch me forward. And I thought that was a really cool weapon. It's one of my favorite insect glaives to have since I've been an insect glaive user. So I would love for Kechawacha to return just so I can have that insect glaive again, hoping that they don't change it. But me personally, and I imagine that it would be in the flooded forest since Kechawacha is a water creature. But that's my next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
no biggie. I just want his weapon.
No, I get it, but I personally actually really like the monster. I thought he passed again, another Monster Hunter 4 monster. Go figure. He's a monster I really like. Like I like monkeys, first of all. So he's a monkey. It's like, yeah, okay, that's an automatic check. But he's very unique in terms of his design. I think it's really smart. Like his ears, when he flaps them down, it becomes like a mask to intimidate predators in his area, which I think is really clever. And like in terms of like how it looks really cool. To me at least. And Monster Hunter 4 was a Monster Hunter that introduced a lot of like vertical movement, so he was one of those monsters that like kind of encouraged you to climb things and chase him down and stuff, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, Kechawacha, if he were to make his return into Monster Hunter Rise, the wire bugs might make him trivial.
Lilies. Yeah,
like he might be really easy to fight because of just the amount of tools that you have, which is something I want to mention before about Celtis Queen. Could you imagine if she had access to wire bugs? Like she can.
That's what I'm saying.
Son, I'm sorry, Kechawacha. I know we were talking about you, but Celtis Queen, you know, that I thought of it, then I forgot it, and then it came back to me. That would be fucking, oh my god, like
that's what I'm saying. They have a master plan with Celtis Queen now.
Okay, let's not talk crazy. There's no master plan.
They cannot tease us with Celtis. and not give us Celtis. I'm telling you,
They
she's gonna come
can't.
in.
They give us the little Eknactor babies and no Eknactor. They give us the fucking Zamtrios babies, but no Zamtrios. They can give us Joggies and Joggias, but not the great Joggy. Not that I'm asking for another Raptor monster, but it happened. All right. So
No, but like, come on,
they could do
like,
they could do whatever
is
the
pretty
hell they want to
specific.
do with this fucking game. Apparently, it's no damn justice. But anyway,
This is pretty specific. Like if we were fighting like 2 or 3 Celtis monsters at a time as the boss fight, I would say, okay, this is it. This is what they're doing. But the one Celtis creature,
listen, I would have
nothing new
taken
about him.
Vespoid Queen from Monster Hunter Unite over fucking
Yeah,
Celtis being by
Another
himself.
definitely.
really fucking
Because that
lost
monster
creature.
he's never coming back. The Vespoid
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah.
And it was such a dumb monster anyway. Like it was just like, why is this? For those who don't know, Monster Hunter Unite, there was one special quest where you could fight a Vespoid Queen. It was a gigantic Vespoid, and the only way to summon it is if you killed like 50 Vespoids to get it to spawn. And you fought a giant Vespoid. That was cool, like the concept of it, and the fact that you had to kind of like work, or you had to do like very specific conditions to make it spawn. I loved that. But it was technically, like, as far as what it didn't do anything incredible. I would have
just
preferred
gave you
that.
defense down. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like,
Yeah, well,
like they gotta be more to it. They have to be. I'm gonna treat it like a Marvel Disney movie where they show you that little thing that's like, and that little thing ends up being something bigger in the long run.
yeah, I don't share the same sentiment on this master plan of design that you're giving the Monster Hunter Rise team. I think it was a low hanging fruit monster. Like, yeah, this is easy enough, and just throw it in there. But
I'm putting it out there. I think Celtis Queen is coming back with a bang.
What
That's
is it?
what I
Summer, spring of this year?
June 30th.
Yeah,
so that'll be my summer game.
Right, they got an official date. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. What's your next monster?
Okay, so wait.
No, it's Blanca's turn. He did.
Right, okay.
I'm up.
Get him.
Don't worry, I won't be long. But yeah, Ash Kachuwacha and Ash Kachuwacha, I would love to see them return. Just to kind of bring it back to your main bring up
point.
So I think this is going to be our last round, so I'll name my main guy and then some honorable mentions, and then we could kind of do the same and then close out. So the next guy I want to talk about is Lagiacrus. Lagiacrus, we've been asking for him to return since fucking, Generations? He was in Generations. Lagiacrus is a classic now. Like, I've always liked him, and the fact that he wasn't in Monster Hunter World was a heartbreaker, but according to, like, there's some, like, interviews and stuff online about, like, why he didn't technically work in the foundation of what Monster Hunter World was built on, so they couldn't really make him work, and instead of, like, having him exist poorly in that game, they rather just not have him in there at all, which I can respect. But Monster Hunter Rise has Mizune and has pretty large maps. They can have Lagiacrus. There's no reason why Lagiacrus can't be in this game. I can't, like, there's no technical reason. So Lagiacrus should return. He's a classic monster now. He's an OG. He's the face of Monster Hunter 3. Bring back Lagiacrus. And then the honorable mentions, before you guys go on Lagiacrus, the honorable mentions I had left were Blanganga, Seregios, and then Deviant Monsters from Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. All of them. Give me all of them, even the bad ones. But what do you guys think of that?
For Lagiacrus, I want Ivory Lagiacrus, the super one that they introduced. That I feel like he deserves to come back as in the super form of Ivory, because he's been out of Monster Hunter for so long, and a lot of people, including myself, want Lagiacrus to come back. While he is an annoying monster to fight, because Leviathans are naturally hard to fight for me, but they I feel like the presentation, the intimidation, the challenge that he presented when he was introduced to whatever else iteration he was in, he's well deserved. It's well deserved that he gets a super form, which is the ivory large version. I want that one. I want the one that when we fought, we grew gray hair over. We lost it fighting that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost it fighting that one. So I want him back. What about you, Gunnar? How do you feel about the guy, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, I never got to fight Ivory because I skipped out on that Monster Hunter, but I did fight Lagiacrus because I started playing the one on the Wii. That wasn't the one on the Wii U. I started playing the one on the Wii.
Try.
Situation happened and I couldn't play it anymore. But I did get to Lagiacrus. I always thought Lagiacrus was a cool monster. I understand he fit when they added the swimming thing, which I think should never return in any aspect. But I think I understand what at the time the world developers were saying that Lagiacrus was hard because he has the unfortunate state of being built for an engine that no longer exists. He was built for swimming. He was the poster boy of the Monster Hunter game that featured the new mechanic of swimming. So I understand you had to redesign his moves for ground-based combat, but I think at this point, I mean, you guys said it. We have Mizune, we have, forgive me, but that mud snake,
A Moldron, I think.
yeah, like where he just
Moldron.
goes into the swampy water, like they kind of exist. Lagiacrus type monsters exist. So I think at this point, even if you have to dumb him down or kind of rework him, yeah, Lagiacrus should be in the game. And I agree with Wolf. At this point, bump the bare bones Lagiacrus, add Ivory. Just add him. The guy's been
Yeah.
absent for so long. Just don't give. I mean, if you want to give us more content, sure, you can give me both. But if you just want to, if your spots are limited, throw Ivory in there because at this point, the monster's cool. He deserves to be in another game, not stuck in the water-based Monster Hunter. And at this point, just give us Ivory. I'm down for it. Lagiacrus is always a cool monster to me.
And if they want to have a siege monster version, they can give us Abyssal Lagiacrus in a giant
Right.
arena,
As the
right?
siege, right?
As the
Yeah.
siege, that I'd be fine with that. I mean, it's kind of like devaluing that version of Lagiacrus, but you know, if they want to continue with that gimmick, then so be it. That's something they could do too.
I agree.
My last one, and then my honorable mention. My last one, because I never did any of the for Volcano, would be Black Gravios.
Oh God, why?
Oh,
Why?
damn.
Why not? You don't want beams on top of beams.
He
Beams while
occupies
walking.
he occupies the same space as fucking Kazu, bro. Like this is archaic,
Yes, he
old ass
does.
monster. Nobody
But
wants him.
it's beams. Like, come on, Black Gravios is awesome. 1 and 2, they have Basarios, which again is following
That's
the
true.
Celtis nonsense. You know, why do you have Basarios and not a Gravios of any kind? And if there is a Gravios that they introduce to match its infant level, I would want it to be Black Gravios, because Black Gravios, I don't remember the last time I fought one. So, and I like him more than the regular gray one. I'm sorry, I like Black Gravios. So
I
want
like him too as a as a monster, like
Mhm.
just the design and his lore or
Mhm.
whatever. But fighting him is like fighting Kazu. It's like, like
It won't be that bad. We have wire bugs.
yeah, that's true. But then again,
Right.
they'll match it and they'll have him like be able to laser beam everywhere.
Maybe. Who knows? He could be, like explosion. He could go on like an atomic level like Godzilla did and just start like doing little explosions as he walks.
That would be
That would be
hilarious
freaking
to
awesome.
see, though. That would be hilarious to
I
see
mean,
like
you
people, a
just-
bunch of people wire bug in, and then him go now, boom, and just
Boom.
blow everybody up.
Yeah,
That would be
that'd be
hilarious.
awesome. Gravios, I've always looked at him as a walking bomb, but they never gave him the moveset to be one. And I think he deserves it. I think like after using beams for a certain amount of time, his body heats up and then he just starts letting off energy waves. Like I think that would be very cool redesign for him.
That sounds like some
And-
Monster Hunter Frontier shit right there.
Yeah, but it would be cool. Like he just starts pulsing energy and you take damage for it. I mean, just pick dual swords and go freaking Naruto Uzumaki all over him, and you'll be fine.
We all know everybody's gonna go longsword.
Or long sword and go, or Ghost of Tsushima. So my honorable mentions was like Oregon. I want Oregon to have a mine attack where he plants the bombs in the ground, and if you walk over it, is an immediate explosion. I think he needs something like that because he's way too easy of a monster. I also had Lagicris, Ucanlos, Ice Agnactor, Korapeko, because why not? Multiple monsters are on the map anyways, so why can't he just summon them to his area to help you fight? So it's like always fighting double monster at all times.
True.
And we all know every Monster Hunter game is going to have Brachydios moving forward, and I'm expecting Devil Joe to come back as well. That's an expectation.
Yeah,
so
I'd agree. That's why I didn't bring. That's why I didn't mention them.
Yeah. Oh, and Sand Barrioth, because we already have Ice Barrioth. So fuck it.
How sick would it be if Urgon's new design, like instead of just having like his rigid back with like the dulled spikes, they're all like bombs. So whenever he rolls, he just leaves a trail of bombs everywhere.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
we have the stupid B-52 monster, so why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not have the ground version to him? But those were mine. So what about you, Gunnar, if you have any left?
Yeah, I got a couple. The major one is we just kind of left off at subspecies, and both of them already exist in Rise. I'd like to see Molten Tiger X brought back. I always thought Molten Tiger X was pretty cool. I mean, what made him different was he was fucking massive, like he was huge, and he was slow. But if he even so much as looked in your direction, he was a one shot.
Yeah.
So again, I think the wire bugs might be an issue for him, but I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the Tiger X family. But I mean, you already have Tiger X.
Tiger X family. And yeah, we say, and for the record, we pronounce it Tiger X because that's what we always call them.
I know
we know that
Tigrex.
It's Tigrex, but this is just a comfort.
I still say Geisferos, even though it's Gypsios.
Yeah.
So. But as if they added Molten, hey, why not? Then the whole crew, the whole family's here, the cousin, the brother, and the other siblings here. So it's Molten Tiger X. As far as honorable mentions, I mean, this might be a lame pick, but fuck it. Tetsukabra? I mean, the fucking guy in the guild hall.
Get Tetsukabra, but I thought, like, what's the other monster? The Kappa monster? The one, like, he's like a sumo or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Usarin?
Who knows? Very memorable roster, right? Like, that guy. He exists, so I was like, Tetsukabra feels like redundant.
No, but it's like, Tetsukabra's in the same vein as Celtis. The man in the guild hall is riding a baby.
That's true.
That means Tetsukabra canonically is in somewhere in Rise World. He's not the most. Hell, at Apex, make Deviant Tetsukabra the fucking Tetsukabra. You could skip the base one. I don't care. Just like be in the game. And then one last one, because I haven't seen him in a hot minute, is Agnactor. Bring that big fucking lava dude back. I know he's not here right now, but I know that's a favorite of Esoteric. So
that's also Blanca's.
I fucking hate that monster.
Most hated monster.
I like his concept, but I fucking hate fighting him. He's right there with Ninja Snarf. I don't like fighting him.
I didn't pick the fire one because I don't like the idea of his skin hardening. At least with the ice, right? Yeah. At least with the ice one, it would be natural for you to bring the fire weapon.
Hey, so you fucking add both of them.
Right, but with the fire one, you needed fire to cool his skin. You need fire to turn his skin back soft, and then you needed to use water to deal more damage
and break his parts. Yeah.
And break his parts. So it was like come on, like in a 4-man team, it'd be 2 people going in fire, 2 people going in water, and we're switching in and out, which is a cool concept, but it slows the fight down.
I mean, you could do it with raw weapons too. Like, it's not impossible.
But he was a pain with raw weapons.
He was a pain.
Yeah, But Agnator is one thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. So those are my two honorables, and the last one is really like to see. That's about it for me.
Which one?
Molten
Tigrex.
Tigrex.
Yeah.
Mm.
That would be sick though. If to counter the wire bugs, Molten Tigrex could like snap his jaws at the air and create that smoke, that blast smoke. Like if you try to like attack him from the sky, he'll just bite the sky. He'll bite the air, and it'll create smoke and just blow you up out of the sky.
Blow
That
you
would
out
be
of the
so
sky.
sick. That'd be so cool.
I
I see
think that-
so many people fucking faint to that. So many people would die to that.
I think that's something they should consider moving on with this new one is how the monsters are going to anti-air. Wow, fighting game terminology. How the monsters are going to anti-air the hunters when they use wire bugs.
I agree.
Like-
Yeah.
Hey, it is a Capcom game, so
The major flaw with Rise was that the wire bugs. We always talk about hunter strength versus monster strength, and I think we all agree, at least this group does, that in Rise the hunter strength far and immensely surpassed the monster strength. Those wire bugs are extremely powerful, and I saw some of the trailer that came out and the new wire bug stuff they added. This looks fucking nuts. So it's just like if these monsters, new or old or returning, cannot answer that, Sunbreak is going to be in the same boat, at least with us, that the wire bug superiority just trumps the monsters they add. So I agree with Wolf. They have to give these monsters, whether it's new or modified, a way to answer the fact that we now move on the Z-axis.
Yeah, that was one of the issues with Rise, in my personal opinion. Is like I can go in the sky and avoid you. I can go to the left quickly, to the right quickly, backwards, forwards, and there's nothing that it really could have done. Like I think the hardest fight, which I don't think you guys fought, was Valtrax. I think he's the
I stopped
hardest
playing,
fight. Yeah, he is the hardest fight in the game, and I don't think he will. Maybe they did design him to be the hardest fight, but it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't be that way.
Right, because he's DLC. He's not part of the base roster. Like
Right, he's DLC. But
the base roster was nothing.
The thing is, he's the one monster that answers a lot of the wire bug movements because he's so AoE heavy. So, like, even if you were to wire bug above him, his wings or his jets pack thing would knock you out of the sky. So he did a lot. He does a lot, and he shuts down a lot of the wire bug stuff. So not shut it down, but
he had an answer.
He doesn't. Yeah, he has a better answer than the others, than the other monsters.
Yeah,
So
fucking Kezu, who just looks at you in his fucking 2001 brain case and is just like, oh wow, okay, let me make that 3-point turn. 1, okay, 2, okay, I'm gonna shoot. Oh, you're over there. Okay, 1, 2. It's like, come on, bro, come on, man, go to bed, go home,
this is about to be a Kezu rant.
dude.
Yeah,
There are a lot of monsters that didn't need to be in Rise. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're not gonna open that book. We're gonna leave that book on the shelf. So anyway, we pretty much run out of time. This was a very enjoyable conversation. I always love talking about Monster Hunter with you guys. We've been playing it for almost 15 years now, and I look forward to continue to play it. Hopefully, Sunbreak is what we expect. If not, there will be Monster Hunter World 2 or whatever they call this next one. Hopefully they don't screw that one up. But anyway, if you guys listening have made it this far, thank you very much. We appreciate your viewership, and hopefully you gained entertainment or knowledge from our conversation. If you did, give the video a like, because that does help, or whatever. I don't know. We're not a YouTube expert, but I hear that that's a good thing, right? Subscribe for more content. We release a podcast every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if this is content you like, then subscribing would be ideal. Comment down below. Let us know some of the monsters you would like to see return in Sunbreak. If you disagree with some of our entries, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We also stream, or I stream on Twitch. Every now and again, I don't stream on a consistent basis, but I stream under Blankakong. I usually stream retro games, indie titles, I did stream Monster Hunter Unite, and I streamed a little bit of Monster Hunter Frontier. I do plan to return to those games at some point in the future, so look out for that. Check out Mr. Esoteric, who isn't present, but he does stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mostly plays single-player AAA titles like Returnal, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, Horizon, etc., etc. Subscribe and follow him there so that you're notified when he goes live. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or Discord. All those links will be in the description down below. So find us on the platform of your choice. And I think that's it. So thank you guys very much for the conversation. Thank you, viewers or listeners, for listening to our talk about digital dragons and which ones are better. This is Blankakong. This is the LogiCast. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.